Welcome back to the channel, people. I hope everybody is well. I just got a bit of a shout out to do. So, Aquariange has bought me a coffee. Hey, Ronan, my name is Georgina. I just wanted to say thank you for everything that you do. No, I appreciate you, Georgina. Thank you very much for buying me a coffee. I see you in the live chats and I see you in the chat. So I appreciate that. The reason why I'm doing this here now is because I'm not doing the lives anymore. They will be coming back, so we'll be able to actually thank you live. And I appreciate that. So, yes, thanks to everybody that's bought me a coffee. I generally do drink coffee with it. I'm drinking a Colombian coffee today, not Colombian marching powder, a Colombian coffee. Just a strong mind. But thank you very much to everybody that's bought me a coffee. And if you do want to buy me a coffee, you can buy me a coffee via the link in the comment section and the description. And I appreciate that. And you can also go follow me on the free speech platforms like X and Rumble. So let's get into the video now and let's find out what Dr. Umar Al-Qadri is up to. This guy's running for European elections. He is dubbed Ireland's Jesse Smollett, the first time in Irish history that they couldn't trace a phone number, a WhatsApp number. It's telling times. The Irish digital forensics team are in dire needs of funds because it seems like they can't just figure out who attacked this guy. So let's get into the video now and let's find out what he's doing and what he's up to. Muslim cleric Dr. Umar Al-Qadri to run in June's European elections. Dr. Umar Al-Qadri has announced he will run in June's European Parliament elections in the Dublin constituency. Voters across the EU will go to the polls in June to send 720 new members of the European Parliament MEPs to Brussels and Strasbourg. In Ireland, the elections will take place on June 7th. Announcing his intentions to run today, Al-Qadri, the chairperson for the Irish Muslim Council and the Imam based in Blanchardstown, Dublin, said he is hoping to empower Dublin's diversity in Europe. Diversity, Umar? So does that mean you're going to be representing the LGBTQ also? Running as an independent candidate in the Dublin constituency, Al-Qadri's campaign will focus on affordable housing, immigration, helping small businesses and peace building in Gaza and Ukraine. Speaking to the Journal, Al-Qadri said he has been living in Ireland for the past 21 years and he has seen housing and healthcare get worse and worse over that period. Okay, well, you can see where that's coming from. The government for many years now has been siphoning money from, let's say, healthcare and other vital sectors and pumping it into needless things the Irish don't want. And at the same time, and especially over the past 10 years, bringing in droves of people from all across the world that is filling up Ireland, which is crippling the health service even further. So if you're going to be an advocate for immigration, you can't really be an advocate for the health system either, especially the way it's ran at the minute. He added that divisive rhetoric has been seen in Ireland over the past 2 years in regards to migrants. Al-Qadri said he doesn't believe migrants are proportionally represented in Irish public life, even though they are contributing to Ireland. Well, I would say that they're very heavily represented because anytime there is a meeting in the Dáil, anytime there's any type of a meeting, whether from the higher ups to the lower ups, it's always about migrants and their needs, while at the same time, the native people of Ireland can't even afford rent. So I would say they're represented properly. And one of the biggest issues that's in Ireland right now is that the over-representation for migrants and the push to bring more of them in, while at the same time, the government's calling anybody that considers themselves an Irish nationalist a racist, bigot, and far right. So that's a type of rhetoric that I find very, very dangerous in Ireland. I'd like to be the voice of diversity, he said. Al-Qadri said that he had discussions with various parties but decided to run as an independent candidate as he wants to be the person that is basically impartial, that doesn't have any conflict of interest in terms of party policies, that is there generally for the people. And here we come back to this word diversity again. So when you talk about diversity, Umar, what you're saying is that you represent the marginalized, you represent the people, that the minority. So does that mean that you're going to be representing the LGBTQ? This is a genuine question I'm asking you here. I'm asking Umar, Are you a representative for everybody in that diversity category, i.e., the LGBTQ? Because all I'm hearing here is migrants. So I would like to see and hear whether you represent the LGBTQ. There's a question for you. Somebody please ask him that. Last February, Gardaí launched an investigation after Al-Qadri was allegedly assaulted in Tala. What do you mean allegedly assaulted? Did he not give a formal statement to the Gardaí saying that he was attacked? Why is this allegedly? Sure, he said he was attacked, so it was an attack. I think it's alleged whether it was an Irish nationalist or not, because let's call a spade here. Who did Umar invite into a mosque? Well, he invited Leo Varadkar into a mosque. And who is Leo Varadkar? The first openly Taoiseach. And what in Islam do they hate the most? There you go. 2 and 2 makes 4. He had said at the time that he was a victim of a deliberate hate crime attack. He told the Journal following the incident that 2 men had scheduled a meeting with him. Upon arriving and coming out of the car, I was attacked from behind, he said. I don't remember anything after it until I was in my car driving seat, disorientated, and an Irish lady and 2 men were helping me to recover and had called Gardaí and an ambulance. Al-Qadri said he believes the attack was planned. Well, here's the thing about the attack. You get a message on WhatsApp to go and give a marriage blessing. Now, everybody's hinting at this to be an Irish nationalist. This was set up by the big, bad, racist, bigoted, far-right Irish nationalists. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know one Irish nationalist or one Irish native that knows how to set up a meeting with an imam. Ask yourself that question. If you look at the evidence of this whole case, the person that texted him was Islamic. And I believe that he was attacked. A lot of people say that he wasn't attacked. I believe he was attacked. But I think he was attacked because of his company. Because if you look at who he allowed into the mosque, Leo Varadkar, and if you see the way of life, I'm going to word this very, very carefully, but if you see the way some people see the alphabet people in Islam, they absolutely detest it. They detest it so much in some countries, actually, most of the countries that are ran with Sharia, Islam, a lot of them people are just thrown off the rooftops. There's like days out, public you-know-whats, where the whole family comes to watch a person being destroyed in these certain countries. So 2 and 2 makes 4 people. I don't know anybody that could set up a meeting with an imam because they wouldn't know what to do. They're not that well rehearsed on the lingo and what to say to an imam to get him set up for a wedding. A Muslim guy texts him. He goes, he meets, he goes to do the wedding blessing, and he's attacked. Not because it wasn't a racial attack, but because who his company was. And that's what I believe. If you look into the details of this case, I do 100% believe that he was attacked by his own people because of his company, the company that he keeps, and I'll leave it at that. Now, what's really, really strange about the whole case, you're telling me the Irish forensics, especially the digital forensics team, couldn't trace that number. There's nowhere you can go on this planet without being traced if you have a mobile phone. But a person was able to set up a meeting with this imam, attack him, and this was all done via phone, and they weren't able to digitally trace that. Come on now. We're not idiots here. So there's a few questions I have for Umar. The number one question that stands out in my head. Do you represent the LGBTQ? And I would like to see the LGBTQ put pressure on Umar to answer that question, because you put pressure on everybody else. So the Catholic Church for a long time has been attacked. You need to accept this, you need to accept that, you need to marry us, you need to do this. And the Catholic Church has bent over backwards for them. Pardon the pun. But when it comes to Islam, you can't say a thing to them. Now, this guy's talking about diversity, but what he means is more migrants. He's basically saying it when if I get into power, I'm going to advocate for more migrants to come to Ireland. What I'm trying to say is whenever you use the word diversity, you mean everybody in that marginalized category. So do you represent the LGBTQ? And if you answer that yes, well, then you go against Islam. If you answer that no, then you can't be representing anybody in Ireland because there's lots of different communities in Ireland. That's my question to you, Umar. Do you represent the LGBTQ? Another thing I want to talk about is the fact he says that migrants aren't represented in Ireland. Migrants are overrepresented in Ireland. They get all the resources put to them. And this is what one of the biggest issues is that migrants get everything and the nationalists get nothing. One woman I seen who she worked like a 12-hour day. Her husband worked longer hours and they couldn't even afford a house in Dublin. And at the same time, across the street, as she said, there was people that didn't have to pay for electric, that didn't have to worry about food, they didn't have to worry about money, they didn't have to worry about any of these things. So migrants in Ireland are overrepresented. They're more they're more represented than the native people. And this is what the issue is. There needs to be a cap on the illegal migrants coming into Ireland. When I say put a cap on it, I say, well, okay, we'll have to do our fair share of illegal migration because there's people running from war-torn countries. So let's put a cap on that. We're not going to go by that cap. We're going to put a cap on migration too, legal migration. We're going to put a cap on refugees and asylum seekers because the people of Ireland are saying no at the minute. It's not a quarter of the Irish people standing up here saying we don't want this. 3/4 of the Irish people have stood up and said, no, we don't want this. You're calling us racist. You're calling us far right. You're calling us bigots. And we're none of those things. We understand that people are fleeing war-torn countries, but we're not the United States of America. These people are crossing safe countries to get to Ireland. Why is that? Because the Irish government has given them an incentive to come here. You've got Roderick O'Gorman putting out tweets in 8 different languages. So, in my opinion, what the Irish government is looking for here is a complete culture change. They don't like the way things were done in the past. They want people to come in here that are more pliable and compliant. Because right now, the people of the West, not just in Ireland, you've got America, you've got European countries too, and Australia, that are standing up and they're saying no. These societies were built on migration, but they were also built by us, the natives, and they were built by legal migration. And a lot of people come here and say, well, what about the Irish? Or the Irish migrated all around the world. They did. 100% they did. And they were loved. They were loved that much that their culture was celebrated. And you have St. Patrick's Day celebrated all around the world. A great Christian celebration. But you're not seeing that here. You're seeing droves of men from a completely different culture, because when the Irish moved to like Australia, England, America, they automatically integrated into society. The culture that's coming into Ireland isn't integrating. It isn't. It's that bad that slums are being created in inner city Dublin. Slums are being created all around the world. Over in America, migrants have the right to squat in somebody's house and then kick the owner out of the house. That's a different story. That's what's happening in America. I don't know if the same rights apply over here with squatters' rights. Ireland isn't the United States of America. It's a small island. It's like the size of one of the United States states. So what do? You have to, when you're dealing with a small island that can only take in so many, and right now it's full, you have to put a cap on it. And people like Umar want to bring in more. This has got nothing to do with race. This has got nothing to do with religion. A little bit to do with religion, because if you look at the religious rhetoric that's coming from some, they're coming out with diversity, but what they really mean more migrants. And the progressives, let's talk about the progressives here, i.e. the regressives. The progressives that are for woke culture, and they're for the alphabet people, they're for kids chopping their wieners off at 6 years of age. They're allowing this in, And they're an advocate for this, while at the same time, the people that they're allowing in hate them. Because if you know about Sharia and you know about Islam, they absolutely hate the alphabet people. They hate them so much that there's, as I say, days where the family comes to watch them being destroyed in the street, people getting thrown off buildings. So it's quite funny to see the progressives advocating for this, because just say in 20 years' time there was a majority of Muslims in Ireland. It's not going to be me they're going to persecute against. They're going to come into my house and they're going to say, oh, you got a wife, you got a kid. 100% fine. Cabbage. Great lad. 100%. But see the boyos across the road that advocated for us to come in 20 years ago? Yeah, we're going to throw them off the rooftops. That's what's going to happen here, and you just don't even realize it because you're idiots. Not everybody, but to the progressives that advocate for this, which would make you think, what is the actual play here? So, yeah, it's very important. The biggest conspiracy theory ever, I don't care what anybody says, was telling our children not to get involved in religion and politics, because they didn't. And who did get involved in politics? People like Umar. So make sure you get involved in religion and politics, because if you don't, then your country is going to be destroyed.